Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wine Talk, where we uncork the wine to tell the truth. It is Chrishon, Lampley, and you guys probably are seeing a different background than you normally see. I am in the West Coast. I am at the Lampleys. You guys know that's my last name. I'm at my parents' house. I'm visiting them before this crazy season of wine season just goes berserk, and I can't see them for a while. So I am here in the West Coast, but of course I want to continue doing some amazing wine and loves because my assistant is connecting me with some amazing people doing great things in the wine industry. And I'm so excited to be here with Kenda Waugh. I pronounce it right? Kenda Waugh. Yay. And tell me your handle again. What is it again?
It's
Nola.
Or Wine and Chill.
Okay, guys. So you know what I tell you guys to do every time you see this? I want you to follow everyone. I don't care if you guys go back on my YouTube. I know a lot of you watch it from my website. Go back and follow all these amazing people that we have on there because they're doing great things. Otherwise, you guys know how I roll. I wouldn't have them on here if they weren't doing amazing things. So welcome to Wine and Love. So I send wine, or my assistants send wine, and I have no idea what each guest is receiving. I have no clue. So we open it up, and I'm serious, where we say we uncork the wine to tell the truth. That's what we're going to do. So I would love to know which one you received.
All right. I got the Pinot.
Yes, Pinot. Oh, I'm excited you got that one.
I was so excited. I reached out to a couple of my wine friends. I'm like, have you tried it? And I'm like, yes, it's delicious. So, okay. But yeah, so I am excited to try this.
I am excited to have you try it. Yay. So we toast, and then you're just going to tell me about the wine, and then we're just going to chat about anything, just whatever rolls off the tongue, and we're going to have a good time. All right, guys. So she's pouring Good Times, Good Friends. A lot of you love Good Times, Good Friends. It's really cool for you to have this one. I'm going to make sure that we post this one right away because this one was featured in Essence just recently. So I'm very excited you have Good Times, Good Friends. I've gotten a lot of people ordering that lately. So cheers, and just tell us what you think.
So light, crisp. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna do this nasty thing called the swirl and switch.
Do all that. Do all that. You guys, she's doing it for real. This is the real deal.
My husband hates when I do that, but I have to do it. Oh my God.
I love it. I love it.
Oh my God. See, that's when you get all the flavors.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Everything. And I'm picking up, okay, of course, the acidity is there. My mouth is watering. I love it. I love acidic wines. Lemon, lime. I'm tasting melon. Maybe like a honeydew melon or a cantaloupe. This is good.
Hey. So Good Times, Good Friends, y'all, is very interesting because that one I source out of Michigan. And within the Midwest, as some of you know, and I've told you guys on episodes before, we have to pick harvest a lot earlier than other regions. So a lot of times the wines tend to be a little more herbal. They have a little more bite to them, if you will. There's a lot more going on that's a little different than the West Coast for sure. And that particular one was very interesting because when back in my day of being actually myself in the store doing these tastings, a lot of times customers will come up to me and like, oh, we hate Pinot. I hate, because Pinot's a funny thing. Either you love it or you hate it, normally, in what I hear in consumers. So I was a little concerned, but I'm like, okay, I think I know why you don't like it. So I'm going to make sure I do a different Pinot that's out of the Midwest, that's not necessarily recognized by the wine experts. However, I'm going to make it fun, good, drinkable, crisp, easy, and it's going to be different. So that was my thought process on this one.
Great. That's awesome. Tell me a little bit more about Michigan. Why Michigan for Pinot Gris? And tell me a little bit more about this vineyard and the climate, because I'm feeling like it's a cold climate. That's what I'm getting out. Girl, I am intrigued. The wine nerd has come out.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So the Fenville area in Michigan, right, sits between the Kalamazoo and Lake Michigan. So that particular area for growing anything that we grow within the Midwest doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too cold. Now, I digress when I say a few years back, 2000, I think it was 2018, most of the vineyards almost went out of business in Michigan because it was like a ridiculous frost. It was horrible. It was 2017, 2018. I don't remember exactly, but it was really, really bad, right? So fast forward, that particular area, again, doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too cold for the Midwest. So just think Midwest, don't think any other climate. So harvest always happens early because we get, naturally, you guys know, we get cold much quicker. So when we're harvesting during that time, the grapes are gonna be a little more pungent. Funny, and I'll give you an example. When the Concord grape is picked, it tastes really bad, right? It has this really, it's like you're eating a grape that's too small too early. However, when you balance that acidity, especially my sweeter wines, and I'm going to go back to the Pinot, with the acidity and the sugar level, of course, the alcohol level comes down a bit and you have to balance it. But when you balance it, the flavors of the Midwest come out so prominent. So like the Concord, made for jam, jelly, that's what it tastes like, right? So that's why a lot of times the wines are sweeter within that region. The Pinot is very interesting. Yes, we do have to manipulate it a little bit. We do have to do a little more than California does. But the difference, and this is my opinion, the difference is the California Pinots, in my opinion, versus Italian Pinots and others, it doesn't have any flavor to it, in my opinion. Like they say, there'll be 99 Psalms with 100 different answers. We all have different thought process, different palates. So that's my opinion. So I wanted this Pinot to be more interesting. Yes, it really shoots that acid out at you. Like it's like boom, right. It bites you, right?
Yes, it's there. It's there. And I love that, you know. And that means it pairs with so many different foods easily. So this is a great
bingo. And it's so funny. I just had a winemaker in California try my Pinot, and he says in his mind it was sweet, which was interesting for me to hear that. Very interesting for me to hear that.
But sweet as in sugar, or sweet as in fruit?
As in fruit. As in fruit.
Okay, I get that.
He found it sweet.
I get peaches. I get like a not like a fresh peach, a peach right off the tree. We used to do that. My grandma in Mississippi, peaches right off the tree. It's not like a canned peach or anything like that. So you get the freshness, you get the crisp, and like green apple for some reason. Like that's
yes.
The green. So.
And it's funny because you know so many that's like in that whole area when you're driving up to Fen, it's apples. No. Apples. I kid you not. A lot of people, I tell y'all go. Soon I will be sourcing more in the West Coast, but I really want anybody who can go to Michigan, visit some of the amazing vineyards out there, like St. Julian, which are some of the larger ones. There are some amazing wineries, vineyards in that particular area that's been there since like 1973, that have huge businesses. They do fine. They don't care that they're not in many stores. They do just fine. They have amazing vacation homes surrounding them of people that Michigan. It's a huge boating area, huge boating. It's very, wealthy. And there's just so many great vineyards in that area that you just drive and it gets more and more beautiful. So enough about us, enough about me. I mean, let's talk about you. Tell me, in this wine world that you sit in, you are highly educated in the wine world. You're out of NOLA, which is very interesting. Tell me why. What attracted you to this particular life? Because this ain't an easy life. Why did you choose this?
It chose me. Let me tell you the truth. This is how it started. My mom works for some doctors. They gave her a gift card for a wine subscription box. She's like, oh, I'm gonna drink wine. You take it. So I'm like, I don't drink wine either, but guess what? Then a pandemic happened. So it sat on my bookcase for 3 months. Pandemic happened. My husband and I sitting here talking. I'm like, I'm gonna order this. He was like, they're not gonna ship it. It's the pandemic. People don't know what's going on. It came. It came. So we looking at the bottles and like, what is this? I'm reading the labels. I had no clue. So imagine us not knowing if the world was going to end tomorrow. We went through those 6 bottles, right?
Right.
They never know. So we're like, okay, well,
Many
we're still
did.
alive.
Many did. Right. Right.
We're still alive. Well, let's order some more. So we ordered 12 bottles. So that just piqued my curiosity. I started looking for classes to learn more about wine. I was doing stuff on Google, and I came across WSET. I'm like, what is that? So happened to be a lady was going to do WSET virtually, WSET 1 virtually. Perfect. You can't see. This is perfect, right? So I go there, I pick up my wines, and from the first day of class, I fell in love. That was it. Like, this is it. This is my thing. I'm going to do this. I love this. And then we have Nola Wine.
What about it? What about it? Why? Why did you love it so? Because I love asking people why, because I hear so many different answers of why WSET, why the intricacies of wine, why? What made you fall in love with it?
Because it's so vast and it's so different. Every varietal is different. There's so many factors that happen to change the wine. You can have the same grape in different climates, in different regions, and it tastes different. And my brain is like, why? And it's just, wine is always, why is this? Or why is that? And it just piques my curiosity and it makes my brain just keep going. So I want to know why this happened. Or why did this winemaker do this? Why did you put it in a barrel and not stainless steel? It's just so many things. And it's just something that resonates with me. And I just like to say, it's my passion. I look like I was meant for it.
And where do you see yourself going with it?
Good question. I have no clue. I think my ultimate goal.
I love that answer. I love that answer. Yes, I love it.
From the beginning, when I started going on social media, immediately people try to get you to monetize what you love. Right. And I was falling into that. Do sales, do distributing, be a wine rep. I'm good. I just want to drink wine. I want to learn about wine, and I just want to enjoy it. Now, if something happens, while I'm on this journey, then it happens. But everything that has been thrown at me hasn't sat well with my spirit. You know how the older people say, I don't feel right with my spirit. So I'm still on that journey, trying to find what's right with my spirit. And when I get there, I know. I'm thinking a wine bar, the BIPOC community in New Orleans in the wine world does not exist.
Right. I was going to touch on that next. Yes.
Right. And a lot of people say they follow me because I make it relatable. I don't have the the snooty, snotty type of thing about wine. I talk how they talk, so they have a good understanding of what I'm talking about. So
I love that. And I want to touch on 2 points of that. We're going to get to Nola, but I love your answer of not knowing and not having to monetize on it very quickly. The perception of this industry, and I have mentored so many people, talked to so many people, and that said, Chrishon, I want to be you. I want to have a wine brand and make a lot of money and be great. I'm like, then this is not for you. It's not as sexy as it looks.
Mm-hmm.
There is definitely 90% marketing and 10% know-how to it to really be successful in a brand. I'm very transparent when I say that. That's why, if you think about it, a lot of Psalms don't have wine companies, and a lot of wine companies aren't Psalms. Right? Very interesting, right? Because there's so much to it. It's more sales and marketing, sales. And I come from a sales background. So it was easy to transition myself, but again,
Oh.
I started way back when, 25 years ago. So a lot of it was driving to vineyards, it was walking to accounts, it wasn't anything online. So I say that to say I love that answer that you have, that it was nothing that spoke to your spirit, because everything that's happened to me was me. It's like
Mhm.
I am love corkscrew. So it
Mhm.
made perfect sense. And I just want to shout kind of to everyone out there, when you're not sure, it's okay, because sometimes your purpose finds you. So relax, live in it, be in it, and it'll all make sense when it's supposed to make sense. So I love that. But let's touch on NOLA, because I was there for the Essence Festival.
Were you?
Um, I was part of the Shea Moisture vending, and
Okay.
it was just a great time I had there. I'm definitely gonna go back again next year, but more just for the women empowerment. Like I just want to go and shop. I just want to go and have a good time, go to the concerts, because I was working. I was working most of the time. But I want to touch on that, on what, because a lot of people say, Chrishon, why aren't you in NOLA? Why isn't Love Corkscrew there? Really, in the interest of wine and states, it's really, Louisiana really has never come to me from others as
Mhm.
the place to be. When I say others, I'm speaking of the gatekeepers, right? I'm speaking of the large big box stores I'm in and the distributors. Nobody ever said Louisiana. However, customers do, my fan base does, people that follow Love Corkscrew love Corkscrew and want it there. So tell me, what is going on? Like, tell us the real deal. What is it? Is it more just because it's a bourbon town, like Kentucky is more like Kentucky's not big on wine, so I'm not even in Kentucky yet. Like, what is it?
If you want me to be honest,
You have to be
the-
honest. Is wine and love, where we uncork the wine to tell the truth?
well, let me tell you, the wine business here is huge. It's huge, right? But it's not for us. I am always the only one in my space, you know? When I
Ah.
go to wine stores, I always have to prove that I know what I'm talking about to get any assistance. So I feel when people tell me that they want to get into wine too, but they feel intimidated, this is why. Because we are not represented. We don't have a space where we could be ourselves and enjoy wine and learn about wine without feeling like we are less than, you know? And that's something that's been sitting on my spirit for a while, trying to figure out how can I bring this, how can I stop this and help people feel welcome.
So is it the BIPOC community is not that into wine, or are we saying that the gatekeepers aren't recognizing how much
The
they are into wine?
the gatekeepers are not recognizing. We
Got
have
it.
Black Girl Wine Society here who has a huge membership. And I find that they don't do a lot of things within New Orleans for some reason, but it's definitely gatekeeping, you know. And I have met some wonderful people along the way who have tried to bring, not tried, who have brought me into their world, you know. So, and of course, me, when I bring other people with me, okay, let's go, you know, let's do this, you know. But we need more. We need more than two or three people who are welcoming and who are willing to, you know, help. And they also see there's a gap or a lack of the BIPOC community in wine, and they want to help, but it's going to take some time. I'm here. I'm ready to take on the challenge, and I hope I can help you bring this to New Orleans.
Absolutely. We have to make a change. I've watched it happen through many channels in these 25 years. Where we are now, I will say the positive, and usually I'm extremely blunt about the negative and about what we have to change. But I will say I have seen amazing changes happen. It even happened I'm a Chicagoan, and it's happened in these last 25 years. The difference of people thinking that the BIPOC community only want the sweet
Ah,
5.99 or the boxed wines, and I'm not going to name brands, and that's not true anymore.
right.
And if it was even ever really the truth, or if our exposure via these channels that, and we've seen these social experiments, right? What was brought to our community was that, and not these amazing wines that we can afford, we can drink, we just knew nothing about them, or they just intimidated us. And that is my next question. I see a lot of us, and this is a controversial question that I'm going to ask. I see a lot of us getting involved in the wine industry, but I also see a lot of us that are celebrities getting involved in this industry. My concern, and I've said it on other wine talks, y'all have heard me say this on other wine talks, but I like to get different perspectives of this. You guys know my perspective of this. Why? Why do they do this? Why don't they say, Chrishon, why can't a celeb come to me and say, Chrishon, I see you've had Love Corks for 10 years now. I see you're in stores. I see you're growing around the entire country. Let's collab. The great word for it that's using, that these big designers are using is capsules. So where was it North Face meets Gucci? I don't remember the exact collaborations, or Canadian Goose meets Fendi, or however they're doing it. I know Telfar, my understanding, just I think they're with Converse or something. Why don't we do these capsules of these great collabs that make sense? Because if Love Corkscrew has the footprint and has been here, the celebrity has the marketing power and dollars that we can't have that fast. Why can't we collab? Why are they just, in my opinion, grabbing something that's hot right now? And some are not quite making it. Why don't they just work with us, not against us? Or are they working against us? Like, what's your opinion?
So are you saying that celebrities are going after these winemakers, or opposite? Because I see the opposite happen.
Okay, no, talk to me. What do you see?
Okay. For instance, a couple years ago, this R&B singer came out with wine, right? And after a couple of interviews, I'm reading about the wine. I'm like, okay. And she admitted she knew nothing about wine. So okay, I was like, well, you put out a wine and you didn't know anything about wine. She visited the vineyard after the wine was already out. I love her. I love her to death. I love her to death. But it made me think, what is this? What is this? Okay. So I'm not gonna lie, I side eye every celebrity that comes out with a wine. I'm like, same. What is this? What is
same?
You know?
What is it? What is it? I think I'm old school. So I think back in the day, it was more spirits, right? A lot of celebrities grasped spirits. And I remember quite a few back in the day, especially in the Cali area of the Nate Dogg time frame, and Snoop Dogg time frame, that came out with these spirits that failed. They didn't do good. The weird juices, all this stuff weird, and it didn't work. So is it because women in BIPOC are finally getting looked at in this particular industry that their publicists, marketing companies, agencies are saying that's where you should go? If you drink it and you like it, you should own a wine brand. Is that what's happening?
That is definitely what's happening. But my question to you, are they really owning it? Who owns it?
Great question.
Okay. That's
great
different.
Question. Great question. Is it just a licensing?
And there's a lot of black label winemakers who also don't own their wine.
Let's talk about this. Oh, let's talk about this one. Let's go into this one. Because I have some issues with several statements that I've seen on particular groups, certain Facebook groups, and I won't name them, but I belong to several. So there's certain groups that this is a controversial topic of black wine brands that don't own their colas, or black wine brands that aren't really the company behind it, or black wine brands that are really not doing custom crushes, or black wine brands that are just sticking their label on a wine. So let's break this down, because I've been in this industry a long time.
Okay.
So there is, and I'll do it very quick, and then I want to get your perception on it. There is, I used to call it wedding wine. There is wedding wine, right? You get married, you can have your label put on the wine. There's companies that will do it for you. They will run Joni and Chachi's wine, and we're all set. And you have some great gifts for your customers. For your guests, and you're all set. Okay, there's that. Then there's custom crush. So you all understand that means the particular individual owns their company, but does not own a vineyard. They then work with the winemakers to produce a custom crush. This could happen in many different aspects, right? It could be unfinished wine that they work with the winemakers to finish. I'm not going to go into the technical part, but understand they are custom crushes. Then there are shiners, right? There is wine that is, and I'm going to just make it easy. I'm not talking to the wine techies. I'm talking to wine novice. There is shiners, right? Which we consider leftover wine that either wasn't picked up in production, extra wine that all vineyards always have extra wine. That they purchase, right? This is actually some of the storyline for Barefoot, if I'm not mistaken. That's originally how they started, by buying shiners. Okay, so there's that, right? And then there's people who actually own lots, actually own the land, actually own the vineyard. There are people that or lease it. There are actually people that have wineries. So there's a facility, there's tanks in the back, there's steel tanks, and there are actually wine being made on their property. If a wine label does not have their cola or their name particularly connected to the label and it's under the vineyard, does not mean they don't own it. Does not mean it's not their juice. They are not the manufacturer. That does not mean it's not their brand. But there are several ones that go more to that wedding side that I named. And there's some that go to that wedding side and sell illegally. But there's also some that are working towards having that piece of land, but it has to make sense and it has to be something you want. So I'm sorry to get off into a tangent, but this just happened. I just saw these comments on certain sites, certain groups, and I did not get into that because I don't have time to get into these conversations. I'm not a Facebook debater at all. Because it's I don't use my energy for that. I have other things I need to get done and accomplish. But I say all that to say, tell me that's me. That's my life. But I want you to tell me your assessment.
Well, guess what? You have just educated me, because I am not that versed into all of that. But I have found that a lot of these so-called black wines are not actually owned or made by black winemakers. There's a lot of photo ops next to a barrel, and it just disturbs me. And black people are loyal to brands.
Very.
So you say that this is a black winemaker. I know some friends that go hard. I only drink black wine. I'm like, I don't see you drinking one yet.
But I'm so glad we're having this. I'm so glad we're talking about this, because I want to educate you on my end of the business, that not everyone on your side of the education, we don't talk to, right?
No, we don't talk.
And we need to have these open conversations. I'm like getting slightly turned on by this. Like, I love having this conversation because certain things, and there's certain words that are used. Okay. I've never called myself a winemaker. I call myself a negociant. Always have from day one. I own a wine company from day one. I have never said I am a winemaker. I always say I work with the winemaker. Always said that. So and I'm going to put this out there too. Don't always, and this is not to you, I'm putting this out to the Love Corkscrew public. when you see certain articles written about Black owned brands, wineries, brands, I am a wine brand. Everything you see written about me says wine brand. Not all publications know the right word usage. Most people have no idea what a negociant is. So they may throw in other words, but don't assume that we as Black and brown wine producers, brands, negociants are purposely trying to fool you in thinking that I am actually crushing the grapes with my feet. It's not.
You you weeded the vineyard yourself.
I am not out there, okay?
Not Rocky? You're not.
I don't like snakes at all, at all. The last vineyard I was on a couple of weeks ago, there was like rattlers around. I don't do rattlers. So no, I pay people to do things. So let's just be real. Let's keep it 100. That I want there to be a narrative of positivity and understanding. And I think the positivity comes from fully understanding and having the conversations with the brands that we might not think are Black owned brands, or they're coming in from a different angle than people may think. I know some that bought out a facility, so they do own it.
Okay.
Now, if they have a part in the actual wine making or not in decisions, that's another story.
Yep.
I do, because I wanted to get into that world. Not everybody can. Not everybody's good at it. Or not everybody wants to. Some may just have the money just to finance it. And that's where I go back to the celebrities. Their companies have the money to put their face on it, whether it's licensing, just like they license other things, right? Or they're a model or, a spokesman for certain things.
Say that then. Say that.
Okay.
Say that. Let me know. When you put your name on something, I would think you were there for the whole process. Like, you went through all of these wines, you tasted 100 wines, and this is the one you picked. And I found out you didn't. Like, your name was put on there and you haven't even visited a vineyard. What the?
Well, didn't the celebrity tell you they didn't visit it until after? So you assumed.
What they say about the what? You make an ass out of what? It's all okay. But I have a question for you.
Yes.
You made me, and I don't want people to take what you do lightly, because I know for a fact that you probably have tasted thousands of wines before you pick the wines on this.
Correct.
So you have to tell people, you have to let these people know it's not an easy thing that you're doing because somebody else crushed the wine.
You're right. And I'm glad you said that. You're right. And it's funny. I don't remember who the interview was that I did, but it's on YouTube and it's gotten a lot of play, where I broke down the industry. I said 12 years ago, this is how much money I had. This is how much money I put into it. This is how much money I lost in it. I still don't have any money, but this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I was very transparent that to even get into the wine brand game, you got to have $250,000 even to start. Now, mind you, this is 12 years ago. Now it's probably twice as much. So I got in back in the day. So you are absolutely right that there has to be more conversations, because I think there would be a more understanding. There are some very, very popular wine brands, way more popular than Love Corkscrew, that could be questionable and I'll leave it at that.
I love you. I'm offline.
Could be very questionable. However, I love what you're saying, because you're going to put my feet to the fire. You're going to make me have that conversation with my colleagues to say, we need to be well more transparent, because our network and net worth are having conversations of misunderstanding. And it's us. We need to make it more clear. We need to be way more clear on it. And we're going to do better. I promise you. So enough about that. Tell everybody, because this has been a great one, because normally I never go over time, and I've gone over time with you, but you got my heart beating, and this is awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome. Tell everyone how they can find you, learn more. We can have further conversations. We might have to do a part 2. Tell everybody about you, where they can find you, and how they can support.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I am on social media, Facebook, IG, TikTok, all the stuff. Nola_wine and chill. I'm here in New Orleans, Louisiana. I am trying to learn more about wine and get in this wine industry and bring my people with me, bring us up. And I wanted to bring up something before we let go. When we're talking about, the wine industry in New Orleans, and it's sad when we talk about sweet wines. I walked into a wine store and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna say the name. Oh, you want this? It's over here." I'm like, "Excuse me." And my daughter was with me. She's like, "Mom, don't," because I was about to go off. Like, I was gonna do one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, like, So yeah,
The assumptions.
So I am here to educate my people, to help us, to bring it, make wine relatable, because wine is for people. Wine is not for this upscale type of thing. I mean, we need to drink wine for dinner every day, just like some of our counterparts do in their families. We didn't get that when we were raised. We got the Kool-Aid, we got, but a lot of our white counterparts grew up seeing their parents have a glass of wine every day for dinner.
Yes.
I want to normalize that, bring that back.
Agreed.
Wine people.
Agreed. I absolutely love that. We are going to have a part 2. So y'all, I know you guys cannot get enough of her, and this has been absolutely amazing. So we are going to do a part 2. I'm going to have Kenda, my assistant ambassador. I'm going to have her schedule another one, because I love this woman. Your energy is great, and I'm all about energy. I'm very, and I don't want to scare anybody, very borderline psychic. So there's certain energies that mix with me well, and yours is one of them. And I thank you. So we are having a part 2. We're going to continue this, and I want to support anything I can in Nola. I fell in love with Nola, and I want to come back. So I'm going to put you to work to tell me on our next call, or next time we connect, what you want me to do there for you, and we're going to make it happen, because I absolutely fell in love with it, and we're going to do something together. Let's collaborate on something ASAP. All right.
Let's do it.
Okay, done. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, this is a little longer wine talk than normal, but I know you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to make sure to post this one very quickly. So if you guys are watching this, when you are watching this, I want you guys to share this one, because this one is very insightful, and there's a lot of topics that we touched on that are a little controversial, but I think they're really going on in our circles right now. And I want you guys to really grasp this, learn, understand, and ask us. Ask Love Corkscrew. Ask other wine brands what exactly do you do, or what does your company do? Because you might find out that they're more than you think they are. You might find out that they're different. That doesn't mean they're wrong. Fair? So thank you guys for tuning in to Wine Talk, and we've had a great time, and I'm going to have her back, y'all, I promise. Okay? See ya.